At first, the ratio of the number of red buttons to the number of blue buttons in a box was 4:1. There were 288 more red buttons than blue buttons. Then, Halim added some red and blue buttons into the box. The number of red buttons added was twice the number of blue buttons added. As a result, the ratio of the number of red buttons to the number of blue buttons in the box became 5:2. A. How many red buttons did Halim add into the box? B. How many buttons were there in the box in the end? So according to the first sentence, it says that the ratio of the number of red to the number of blue is 4:1. And we know that there were 288 more red than blue. So we know that in the beginning, red is to blue is 4:1. And since there were 288 more red, we know that red has got 4 units, blue has got 1 unit, red has got 3 units more than blue. Therefore, 3 units is equivalent to 288. So to find 1 unit would be 288 divided by 3, and that gives us 96. So since blue has got 1 unit, blue is only 96. This is the blue, while red has got 4 units. Therefore, 96 times 4, and we will get 384. So this is the red marbles at first. After that, Halim added some red and blue buttons into the box. The number of red buttons added was twice the number of blue buttons added. And as a result, the ratio of the number of red to the blue becomes 5:2. So what happens is that blue will actually plus 1 new unit, while red will plus 2 new units. Why? Because Halim added the red buttons, which was twice the number of blue buttons added. And as a result, the after units became, for red, the ratio for red is to blue became 5:2. That is to say, 96, which is belonging to the blue, so 96 plus 1 new unit would give us 2 after units for the blue. Because blue has got 96 at first, and then we add 1 new unit, which we do not know how much is it, and it ends up with a ratio of 2. And we treat this ratio as the after units, which is 2 after units. As for the red, it will be 384 plus 2 new units will give us a total of, will let us end up with a 5 after units. So red had 384 at first, plus twice that was added to the blue, so it's 2 new units, and it ends up with a ratio that is 5 after units. So we got to make these two equations the same. So we'll make the after units the same by multiplying this with 5, and this would multiply by 2. So we will get 480 plus 5 new unit is equals to 10 after unit. We got this from here. Wow. 384 times 2 will give us 768 plus 4 new units is equals to 10 after unit, and this is obtained from this after we multiplied it by 2. So you can see that these two equations are now equal because they are both 10 after units. So 480 plus 5 new unit is equals to 768 plus 4 new unit. That is to say, 480 plus 5 new unit will give us 768 plus 4 new unit. Therefore, this must be equivalent to 480 plus 1 new unit. So to get 1 new unit, I will use 768 minus 480, which is 288. So the question is asking how many red buttons did Halim add into the box. So for the red buttons, we added a total of 2 new units. So we need to find 2 new units would be 2 times 288, and we'll get 576. So this is the answer for part A. Part B asks, how many buttons were there in the box in the end? So in the end is the original, which is 96, plus 384, plus the 1 new unit and the 2 new units. So to find in the end, so for part B, we'll just use 96 plus 384 plus 1 new unit, which is 288, plus 2 new unit, which is 576. Which is 1344.